Okay, so we are live, and I'm gonna just check.
Hello?
Hey there. Whoa, you're staring down at me.
I gotta switch over my camera. Bam. Alright, now we just need Crafton to get on here. Let me see if I can get that.
Testing, testing.
1, 2, 3.
You shouldn't have actually had to copy the link because it has a live click. Like it
I'm
should.
wondering.
It's a
Yeah,
live link in the chat.
yeah. It wouldn't actually let me click on it though. If maybe he's on his phone and that it won't let you click on it.
Oh, that's why. Yeah, that would. That who knows? Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Let's see if Crafton knows what he's doing.
I did send it to.
Matt Ross Crafton at Gmail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine didn't show up in my email. I ended up getting it from the messenger that you sent me.
Yeah, I just mean, I just meant, your Gmail account, your Google account. It should flag you, however you have an app set up on your phone or whatever.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
didn't even do that. It just kind of.
blooped like up, like just.
Well, I clicked on it and it's like you need to have this downloaded.
Hmm.
I'm back when you have done that, and I just hit join call now and
Oh,
it
good.
popped up. But
For a while, it was doing this thing like where he might have to. I wonder if. Oh, he's not there. I'm looking in my Hangouts window also. He could. There's an alternative way he could do this if he can't get in on his phone. Or I mean, does he have a webcam? Because that'll make his life a lot easier.
he does, but not over where he is now.
Okay.
If he decides to go and do one of his digital paintings, then it would be different.
He'll figure it out.
I'd like to think so.
Yeah, if you want to take a minute to catch up with him, go for it.
He says no invite yet.
Maybe I sent it to the wrong. Let me try again. So it's.
I mean, I can also try sending him the link that you sent me.
You can also even invite from in here. If you look at the top. Oh, wait a minute. You're on your phone. You can do it. What's his address again?
Matt Ross, Ross.
Yep.
Crafton, Crafton.
Yep.
At Gmail.
Yeah, I've got Matthew Crafton. Matt Ross Crafton. Okay, let me try that one. I think it gave an autofill of a logo of his with his name attached to it. That might be his Google Plus address or something.
Yeah, I don't know how the Googles work.
Well, you know what it is that there are so many different entry points into the system. There's your Google account, there's your Google Plus account, there's Hangouts, there's your Gmail account. And the thing is, even though they're all the same, they're actually on their end, they're basically just hitched together. They're still trying to figure out a way to migrate everything into one congealed, like, there he is.
There you go. Matt.
Why, hello.
Why, hello.
There we go.
And
we are hanging out.
We are a hanging out.
On the Googles.
On the Googles.
And also on the YouTubes.
Yeah, on the Googles and the YouTubes.
So so just bear with me because I'm speaking a little quietly because I am making sure that I don't make too much noise to wake up my girlfriend. But I think I have my mic turned all the way up, so you guys could probably hear me fine.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say to anybody, we got 2 people watching now. So so welcome to FLAMEAPE Live Draw. And my name's Greg Giordano, and I'm an artist, comic creator, illustrator, storyboard guy, do a bunch of different things. Been doing it since 1984. And I'm here tonight with 2 friends who were doing a Facebook hangout, and I totally shanghaied them. I hit them over the head. We put them into electronic gunny sacks and stole them over here to YouTube. And Jesse Lundberg and Matt Ross Crafton.
Yeah.
So
that's funny.
Now Jesse Lundberg is somebody that I know from conventions originally and through other creators like Jesse DeRona. And then ultimately we met, and he and his partner both are members of Vermont Comic Creators. And Jesse's book is Harold the Happy Human Eater, which is this kind of cool, funny, and I believe kid-friendly book about Oh, you go ahead and tell me.
No. You were doing a good job. I was just agreeing that, yes, it's a family-friendly book.
About a zombie, and he is both happy and a human eater. And it's a lot of fun. It's drawn in a really cool cartoon style, and I think you've been doing it for how many years?
It's the fourth, I think. I don't know. I've lost track.
Now, Matt, I don't know your work very well, other than the fact that I'm actually on your Facebook page right now, and there's really just tons of cool stuff everywhere. I see also that you. Oh, go ahead.
My brain doesn't really shut up, so I tend to do a lot of one-off paintings.
So you're more of a standalone illustrator, standalone painter, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I just started producing my own comic book this year.
Oh, really? That's great.
Well, technically last year.
What's it called?
But all I did, Avoid Sever.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Avoid Sever.
Avoid Sever. And so what's it about?
It's like a sci-fi take on Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, very
Basically,
interesting.
that's the quickest way to explain it. But it's also sort of just it's a surrealist story about humans trying to find a new home. But the first issue I'm working on is we're trying to see what happened to Earth. And they're slowly driven mad by the AI on the ship.
And is this a and then are there like analogs for various characters that would normally be associated with Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah, like the wolf character that's actually on the. Let me see if I have a copy of it close by. I do not. Yeah, there's the AI character on the ship
Oh,
is personified or shown as a wolf whenever the hologram shows up. It's a steampunk wolf. That's sort of the Cheshire Cat character. But that character also morphs into other allegories for other characters through Alice in Wonderland.
are you looking for a copy of your book?
I was, yes.
Give me a second. I got one easily accessible.
It's buried in my car right now.
Excuse me.
Oh god, it's so hard to explain because I'm trying to keep it its own story too.
I was gonna say,
And
I got a copy of it here.
mm-hmm.
You want the wolf character?
Yeah, show Greg the wolf character because you definitely see the Cheshire Cat in just the design alone.
Case.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Is that the only close up in this? I can't remember.
Well, the cover. The cover is also a.
You sketched a cover for me, so.
Oh damn! Well, there's the ship.
Is that a special sketch cover that you had your book printed with a sketch cover?
Yeah, that's
cool.
a sketch cover I did for him.
I did the same thing with a mini comic of mine recently, and it worked out pretty well. This is a copy right here.
That's cool.
But it's a blank,
oh,
so
nice.
basically I can do whatever, you know.
Yeah, that's what that was. Is he had a small supply of blank ones.
That's awesome. So, by the way, while I'm in the process of talking to you guys, I'm throwing some show. Crap. Jeez, I'm throwing in some show notes stuff. So, what links would you want, Matt? Would you want your Facebook page, or would you rather just have your blog, your website, and your YouTube account?
My YouTube has nothing on it, so just my Facebook would be fine because my Facebook links to everything else.
Okay.
The hell did my...
I'll make sure people can see it. So yeah, if you were to go to this Facebook page, and I assume you probably have an art album of some kind.
Yeah, that's on my website. Right on my Facebook has a link to my website.
Oh, okay.
And that has actually my website has a much better description of what Void Sever is because I actually took my time to think it out and type it onto there. But whenever I'm asked, I'm just like, the characters go insane and it's really freaky. That's pretty much it.
Oh, you know, I'm getting a page cannot be found on your Moonfruit site.
What?
Yeah, this page cannot be found, but the subdomain art of MatthewCrafton.moonfruit.com is available.
Oh, that one's not there anymore. Is that what my Facebook has?
Yes, your Moonfruit page.
Oh shit! I've been telling people. I've been telling people that's the one.
It's art of MatthewCrafton.mfbiz.com has a sorry, this page cannot be found.
He's sorry.
I have to be honest with you. I am exceptional at rooting out anything that can go wrong or links that don't work. I have this like sixth sense about it. So don't feel bad. It's like it's my curse to like find like stuff like that. So I'm always emailing people or sending them Facebook messages, even total strangers.
Hey, your thing didn't work.
I'm like, oh, your link doesn't work. You may want to fix it. And be like, oh shit, I didn't know. Thanks for telling me. I'd be like, yeah,
I
no
think that
problem.
might be what he's doing because his computer's in a completely different room. So
Or
I think
he
as
just-
soon as you told him
yeah,
that it wasn't working, he ran off to fix it.
no, that's good.
Yeah,
That's.
yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean,
Just all of a
go
sudden he got
go.
really quiet, and I'm like, oh yeah, he probably ran to fix that problem.
Well, while he does that, I'm going to spotlight his incredibly detailed and cool ass drawing of this monster creature. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, now we're down to one viewer. Let's go. Awesome. You know, the other good thing about this is that by doing it through YouTube rather than just a regular Hangout, it'll be recorded to my account. So you know, if you actually care to share this with anybody after it's done, it'll be permanently.
Yeah, up there.
It'll be on your. It'll be on all of our permanent records.
Oh, that's scary.
You know, the hysterical thing about a permanent record is that it turns out there is no permanent record. I mean, if you actually did something that would get you into juvie, then
Yeah.
sure, but then that gets expunged at 18 or whatever it is, or 21. So like there isn't like when they used to say that shit to kids like in the olden days.
Yeah.
There is none.
Then you find out there is just one record.
Right, that's right. It's a 45.
Yeah. And it hisses and pops the entire time.
Right. It's sort of an existential record.
Just keeps going. Number 9. Number 9.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
You back, Crafton?
I'm back.
Did you run to your computer to fix that?
I did. My OCD kicked in pretty hardcore there.
Dude,
I was like,
is
what? No!
perfect. No, that's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your I'm gonna refresh your page just in case you updated it.
It's fixed on there yet.
What's that?
I'm gonna try to send it to you on here on Hangouts.
Oh, okay.
What? No! Run, dude!
Yeah, I'm gonna send it in the chat here.
Okay.
I need to get a website that's functional.
On Wix is awesome. This took me like only a couple hours to build, and it works awesome.
Yeah.
You know, people use Wix. Actually, WordPress.com is really, really good. You know, if you definitely intend to, what was I gonna say? If you definitely want to do like more integration with, you know, stores and stuff, Squarespace is great. Totally rock solid. At this point, there's a lot of good options if you don't want to just get web hosting and doing it kind of more traditional way. There's a ton of you know, usable stuff like prefab stuff out there.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's the finding time.
No, absolutely. I mean, well, you know what I ended up starting to use was about.me, and that's just a temporary placeholder thing. But at least for now, it's a one pager. It has a bunch of links on there. It tells you who I am, and it has links to all my social. So, and I made a temporary portfolio using Google Photos. So basically, you can just go to these different. It's sort of like it's like a digital calling card, and it just says, "Here's all the places where you can find stuff. Here's my portfolio." Blah blah blah. And at least for right now, I give that out, and
Yeah.
at least it's like it's very low pressure because I haven't had time to get my website back online. Um, so that's a good option too if you're you know um, if you're not as obsessed about like everything's got to be in the central website. If you don't mind using these other spaces that you have on other social, about.me can actually be advantageous because it just has the hot links, and you can even migrate you can dump your URL over it so that basically that's your website and people just go to the different offshoots and stuff.
Hmm.
Huh.
So
That
it's
sounds like a really doable one.
yeah, it's a good system for people who have like literally no time or interest in creating a site. I think they don't even want to do the Wix thing. They like don't want to do almost anything.
Mhm.
I'm not in that camp, but it's just the time thing has been
It's a
really
play. It's a placeholder.
yeah, it's been horrendous. Um, so let me see here. Yeah, here we go. I'll show you guys if you want to take a look.
Jesse, your picture's upside down.
I'm aware of that, Matt. I'm painting it upside down at the moment.
Sorry, I figured. I'm just messing around.
Nice.
Matt, I'm not upside down. Maybe you're upside down.
Yeah, I'm upside down.
You're in the upside down.
Yeah, I just sent it in group chat if you're.
Oh,
Yeah.
Which might be harder. I don't know. Maybe I should just throw it in Hangouts. I'll put it in both places. But what it is it's just https about.me/Gregory Giordano. That's a
oh
if
wow.
yeah. I mean, I don't advocate that people should or shouldn't use it, but I have told some people that are like, I don't have time for my website and I hate it, blah 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 blah. I'm like, okay, well, because if you have your art in some web place and you have your social places, then it's super easy because it has all these icons pre-programmed, and you just like go in there and you just plug in all your links, and then it just and then I wrote this little spiel, and at least this work, like this at least looks neat, and you know,
Hi, I'm me. If you want to find out more about me, go to me.
exactly, and it's totally the way to go. Yeah.
Go to me.
And they have three formats in the free version. One is like this, where it's like a card, and then there's a couple that are sort of variations on like almost like a resume kind of looking vertical type thing,
Mhm.
depending on what you like. And then the pricing's not bad. It's like for I don't know why it's $6.58. It's such a weird price, but basically the professional version is either $6.58 billed annually, or it's $8 a month. And for $8 a month, you can map your own domain. You can get SSL. You can get an email. You can get some stats stuff with tracking. It takes away the about.me. You can remove the branding so that you can just have jesselundberg.com or whatever. There's some portfolio stuff and some video support and a few other things. So basically, like it's low engagement website stuff. But for some people, it's enough because they probably have a Deviant art or they have a Flickr or
Yeah.
whatever. They've got their Facebook or they have Instagram, so their portfolio is set up somewhere, and then their YouTube is set up, and their Instagram, their whatever, their LinkedIn or whatever. So it actually can be a clean alternative.
Whoa.
But anyways,
I have to look into it.
that's not why
Yeah, I've
we're
been
here.
enjoying it so far.
What's that?
Why are we here, Greg? Why are we here?
I don't know, but apparently, are you guys seeing me is my hand on the right hand side of my paper right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just the stupid hangout flip thing. All right. See, in my window that I'm looking at, I'm not looking at it on YouTube, but where I'm looking, it's this weird thing that Hangouts does, and nobody seems to know why they do it this way, but it displays everything flipped. So people are like flipping their cameras, and then it turns out that when they flip their cameras, they're then they're suddenly making everything backwards, and nobody knows, and Google for some reason has no answer about why this happens.
That's weird.
It doesn't disrupt anything, doesn't make anything, it doesn't damage the video, it doesn't do, because everybody sees it the right way, but you don't see it the right way.
Oh man.
It's just one of those eccentricities that nobody can escape.
You can either just be mad about it or
Don't believe what you see. Don't believe what you hear.
Yeah, pretty much. So weird.
Yeah.
So what have you guys been working on?
This is a weapon H commission. Other than that, what have I been doing? I did a piece for my father's birthday, which is upstairs.
You seem to be going through a lot of commissions.
Yeah. I mean, it's good, but it also means that I haven't been able to get the damn next book done of Harold. Which it's like, it pays me now, but it doesn't let me get that done.
no.
I mean, I've got the pages all drawn. I've got to, and inked. I've got to color them, do a cover, lay it out. Oh, that'll be. I've got to actually just schedule it, because otherwise it really isn't going to get done.
I know we might have talked about this before, but maybe not. How many copies of your book do you sell at a time? Like, how many do you print at a time and then sell out of?
I usually print 100 at a time. The place that we do them with, Comic Wellspring.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, I mean you can literally print 25 if you want to, but there's no real price break until you do 500 books, and I would just have them sitting around for too long, taking up too much money.
What's your cost per book?
Since going to color, I want to say it's like $1.40 or something. It's a 12-page.
Oh, it's shorty. Okay.
It's a shorty.
Well, that helps though for that purpose.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's geared towards kids, you can devour 12 pages quickly. I mean, that's another reason why we do keep it short. Kids tend to have a shorter attention span, so the fact that we can get them in and get them out quickly.
Yeah, it's not gonna hurt your sales.
Right.
by having short books.
Right.
But it also is good because it keeps the cost down per book, which is nice.
Yeah. I mean, we charge $4 for the color ones because that the price I gave you was without actually shipping them to us, which their shipping isn't bad because they're out of Michigan.
Have you heard about the recent well, I don't want to say it's an offer because it's not actually an offer yet, but Peter Simeti with Alterna Comics,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I don't know if you know your opinion of him as a person or whatever. I don't know, but much about him. I've just seen him in his videos. I like what I see in terms of his spiel or whatever. But what I'm kind of intrigued by is that he's just started. He's like crunching the numbers and figuring out how he could offer printing on newsprint to smaller publishers or one-offs and
Right.
allow people to ride on their ordering system with their printer.
Right. Yeah, I know Pete actually how we got to know Stemeti was through Kickstarter.
Oh, interesting. Okay, not
Because
through a New Hampshire connection or anything.
no, it was when we first got kind of what it was it was a Kickstarter trade where he trade to help fund he was doing the Chair movie
Oh, that's
and
right.
he came to us and was like, "Hey, if I you put down a price, put down money on my Kickstarter, I'll put the same towards yours."
Mm-hmm.
And essentially it was him spending $50 to get $50 to ensure that it met the goal.
Well, and also it's also good because your list of people out there is different than his, so it has a lot of advantages
Yeah.
to bigger community stuff.
Yeah, so that's how it started was the tit for tat basically.
Yeah, it's a good way to go.
You put down, yeah. So that's how we initially were in contact. Like I had never heard of him prior. And then yeah, I mean, we see each other at cons fairly regularly now actually. He wasn't doing cons for a long time and then I think just because of the whole newsprint thing that he's running, he kind of came to the realization, oh, I've got to do cons again.
Yeah, well, plus obviously, like his sort of his experiences over the last few years with Diamond have been less than favorable, and
Oh yeah,
if I was getting treated like that, I would be exploring other
option.
revenue streams as well. And there's nothing like the direct sale. There's nothing like it.
Right, and the fact that he's because
He's
he's a
good at it.
publisher, he gets a featured guest spot
Oh,
and
he does. He doesn't have to pay for tables.
right.
Oh, that's good. That's awesome. Good for him.
Um, I mean, I'm sure that there's some that he trades. Um, I know that he has trade ad space. Um,
Oh, that's a good idea.
in a comic for say, so he's going to be at Granite State, so probably in an issue that's going to be around the time Granite State is, you might see a Granite State ad, like quarter page ad in there, and
Sure.
his quarter page ads I think are like 150 $200 or something like that, which for the amount that he prints isn't a bad price. So he might say, "Hey, give me a table. I'll put an ad for Granite State Comic-Con, and this is speculation. I don't know that that's one that he actually does that with, but I do know that he has done that with another showrunner. It's like, hey, I'll put an ad in if you give me a table, which, win-win.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, it's good that he's got that kind of value that he can offer that, and that's actually worth something to, a con organizer.
Yeah, and the fact that it's a New England brand, he can. A lot of the books are going to a New England area. Not all of them, obviously, but probably.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what his press runs are. I'm assuming. I mean, if he has books being carried by Diamond, he has to have at least 3 to 10,000 copies per issue because of the way things are running now at Diamond. So, that's not bad if you're trading that kind of, quantity. I mean, if a trade on an ad like that actually has some value because you're talking about, anywhere
Right.
from 3 to whatever 5,000 people are going to see that ad.
Right.
Even if it's not at the time of the show, it's carrying that brand into people's heads. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Even if those issues are mostly distributed over New England, that's still totally valuable.
Right.
So, but I'm very intrigued by it because, I mean, of course, the numbers are still gonna, be hard because it's like, yeah, you can actually get a cheap book made in color, but you're gonna have to buy, 3,000 copies.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what the minimums are going to be, but
Yeah, I mean, 3,000 copies will last me 300 lifetimes.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I can think of is that if one has a book that you can sell for under $2, well, in your case, it'd be less than that because you're only talking about 12 pages. But let's say like a standard book.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like 28 pages inside or whatever. If you can suddenly change
24 to 32, I think is of actual content. I think is normal.
Right.
But I mean,
like if you can change that from like being a $4 or $5 indie book, which is very normal, to like a $1.99 book, that's potentially a lot of extra sales just because of the change.
Yeah, and I know he's talked to me. He wants to get me to do something for Alterna.
You should.
Or he has said that in the past. He didn't want Harold, but he, one of the things he was doing was it comes out on a Wednesday, and that's kind of like a horror anthology. He's like, "Do you have anything other than Harold?" And I'm like, "Well, no, that's all we've ever done." But we might work.
You're more than capable of coming up with something though.
Right, and that's why I said it's like, I will try. Like Margaret's got an idea for a story. She's got it written out and kind of did her version of thumbnails as to how she saw it. And who knows, that might become a thing. And that it's a 12-page format. They want short stories. For that particular anthology type thing.
Yeah, which is that's perfect. That's because
right.
There's low low work involved, and
yeah, I mean he has mentioned that he wants me to do something and he wants me to submit.
Like an actual book concept or something.
Yeah, or at least to that anthology.
Yeah.
Which is, I'd rather start with something like I've never done anything for anybody else other than us.
Right.
So I would probably prefer to start with something a little lower key, not try to oversell something.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Especially like, trying to come up with a series of, here's four books. Like I don't know. Right now I can't see myself consistently being able to produce four full books to do, or even like 3 full books in a timely manner. Like I would have to plan that out for a year and a half or something.
And the other thing is you'd have to you'd really have to sort of have some clearer idea of whether that was going to be an income venture.
Right. I've got friends that have all of a sudden it's like, all right, I'm gonna make art my living now, and that's awesome. Like kudos to you that you can do that. I would, I'd love to be able to get to that point. It's the fear of, hey, I have a house payment now. I have a daughter that I'd like to keep fed and healthy.
Well, yeah, I mean, people, I mean, I guess if you have a bunch of savings and you're just a single person, then I suppose you can just jump out a window. But I mean, the idea of doing that without actually having a business plan, not to mention not having, an actual strategy for how you're making those sales, maybe already done before you start, is just the biggest amount of bad like it's immature bad planning. It's like it's I don't get it.
Like the people that
I actually have a very interesting take on this because I did like a little test on accident recently.
Oh yeah.
No, I lost my job last month, and I had about $1,200 saved up,
right,
to sort of in the occurrence that something like that might happen.
Yeah.
But I did sort of double down. I started going to farmers markets to sell my work, and I went to every con I could that month.
Cool.
And without a plan, I can attest, like I didn't have a plan, and I felt it. Like I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know when I should sell or what I should sell, or like I didn't even have my records set, so like I can attest to that for sure. If you don't have a plan, it's just gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that eventually it could pan out. I personally have no. It's gonna sound horrible. Like I have no faith in it working at this point. Like,
I don't think that's a bit. I don't think that necessarily implies that you don't have faith in yourself. It's just you're being realistic about what you have to do in order to make that work. It's a business. It's a real business. And if you're going to do a business, then you better have your shit together, because otherwise you're literally throwing money out the fucking window.
Yeah.
You're just throwing it away.
And then it's
you might as well take the money and put it in a fucking IRA, and just it's boring, but at least it's safe.
Well, like I've got the friends, our con friends that I have. Like one is published by an indie thing, and I think he has a lot of upside.
Oh, that's good.
The other one has a strong local following, and like I can see it working for both of them, which is great. That obviously that's I want the best for them. I just
do you, Jesse? Do you?
No, I mean, one of them's kind of a jerk, but no, that's not true.
Oh, imagine artists being difficult people to deal with. How could this be?
Yeah.
George is such a jackass. No.
Oh, George.
Yeah.
So terrible.
George is like the sweetest guy ever.
I was actually when I first met him, I did have that sort of like, are you're a real person? Like you're so nice.
Yeah, like his book was at San Diego Comic-Con and stuff like that. So
Oh, that's cool. He had the money to invest in a table and all that stuff.
he wasn't there. The writer was. They're put out by Action Lab.
Oh, so they're actually at that sort of stage where they can, because Action Lab's not tiny. I mean, they're doing stuff.
No, but
They've got a
it
budget,
is
so
more
that's cool.
considered in it's it's indie, but
No,
it's like
absolutely.
it's big indie. Like
Well, and
not
it's also kind of like what I coined what I call like indie mainstream. It's
Yeah.
right.
it's indie, but it's indie that essentially is interchangeable
It's indie
with.
that's actually going to get into a comic shop.
Well, I don't know if I would say that. I would say because a lot of independent stuff that is, sort of art comics and stuff does get into comic shops. It's just different kinds of comic shops.
Right. Like
But it's definitely material that's independently, made, but it's absolutely ascribing to be mainstream in its approach,
right.
right? Like, it could very easily be at an Image or Dark Horse or a Marvel DC kind of idea.
Yeah.
Like it fills that same notch, which is good because there's people who really want that sort of thing, but they want somebody's new idea of that sort of thing, and so they should be buying that stuff. They really
Yeah.
should.
So
It's
no,
almost
the
all I buy now, actually.
You like to buy stuff that sort of fits in that area, but like is a sort of indie approach.
Right. I like the stuff that has the high production value, but I want the stories that indie normally produces.
Yeah.
Like some stuff I've never seen before.
Right, and it
like
just won't.
you picked up like Spider King now and
Yeah.
which is I think IDW, but it was originally an indie release.
Yeah. It has that indie feel, but I didn't like when you showed me that it was IDW, I was just like, what? Okay.
Yeah, it's IDW, but it was all of it's basically IDW is just reprinting it with an IDW banner head.
Kind of skeevy.
Not really. I mean, it's getting it more to the masses. It's
Right.
like Stabbity Bunny.
I mean, that's just a good business move to just. I mean, with
hmm
with our book, um, providing that I actually get it done before I'm 80 years old, um, I mean, it's definitely going to be a self-distributed book, and it's going to be a Kickstarter start. But if it does really well, and by some miracle, a publisher like that said, "Hey, we think this is actually really good. We want to license it. We want to publish it for, we want the right to publish it for the next 10 years or something," and they can actually produce, sales
Which
numbers,
is
then
really,
then fuck yeah.
I mean, it's brilliant on IDW's part too because they have a pre-done book. They
Yeah,
don't
they
have
don't.
to wait. They don't have to worry about
Yeah.
are they going to meet the deadlines. It's plug and play.
Oh
They
yeah,
Yeah.
that is really smart on their
Yeah.
part.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I if you want to look at like DC right now is doing what Watchmen Doomsday Clock or whatever. Every single issue of that has been like 2 months late to press
Yeah. Although
because it's
they
being done as it goes.
Yeah. Although they don't really care because Warner
Well,
Brothers.
yeah, the money's going to be there. The money's waiting for them. It's basically a check
Yeah.
that they just have to cash.
And the other thing is, like, they don't really make money off of monthlies anyway, because the sales figures on monthlies, if you do the math, even on the net, certainly on the net, but on the gross end, it wouldn't even cover the costs of the page rates of everybody plus the printing and everything. There's no way that they're making money on most titles other than probably Batman titles or something like that. It's all loss leader on maintaining IP for bigger, more advanced product lines, right? Trades, but really it's about
Oh yeah,
it's about maintaining trademark, and it's about maintaining store, like IP for potential usage in other forms, right? So the last time they were really making money on comics is a long time ago, you know.
yeah.
And that's,
Back when they did the toy companion comics and stuff.
I think, probably the last time they sold in the million copies was Death of Superman, certainly. But since then, the only time that there's ever really huge sales are things when there's such a huge gimmick that, let's say, there's an article in, you know, CNN.com, or it gets covered by a major news network because they need some filler, and superhero comic stuff is, definitely pulls in some clicks. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
really, the last comic that I think sold, I forgot if it was 100 million copies or something, was Death of Superman.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
And
then,
that
like,
was and the thing is that it was also when it was the comic book spec boom. So everyone was buying 10 copies because hey, I'm going to make it rich.
right. I mean, there was the
Not
spec.
realizing they were screwing themselves over by buying so many copies.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't matter anyway, because DC was going to overprint on that book, because between the speculators and individual buyers that, like, never bought a comic because it was just such a big deal. But that's one of those things that I think fandom of big company comics has no idea about. Like, they just don't get, is that the companies, like Warner Brothers, which, by the way, now is going to be what, Comcast, or who is it that bought out Time Warner?
I don't
That
know.
was it was Comcast. So, like, if anybody thinks that Comcast gives a flying fuck about fandom buying funny books, they're out of their fucking minds, and they're just really young and don't know any better. The thing that they care about is IP, and the ability to redistribute IP and recontextualize the IP in formats
Mm-hmm.
that are mass consumable: TV shows, games, whatever.
They really don't care what they put out. It's kind of like the Fantastic Four, like to go switch medium, go to like the Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah, and I
They're going to
mean,
put out a shit Fantastic Four movie every like 6 years because it allows them to maintain the IP.
well, I mean, I think it'd be more like, the reason why they might put out inferior comics is to maintain awareness of that IP, but they're always going to be trying. And I think, actually, with Kevin Feige in charge, they're probably going to have a really cool Fantastic Four movie, but but like, the reason for the comics is to sort of maintain the
I
thing. It
sorry.
gives them the ability for anybody out there to say, "Oh, that's Fantastic Four. Okay, now I'll go to your movie." Like, that's kind of what it's about.
Is it really pronounced Feige? Because I think I've been pronouncing that wrong all along.
Yeah, yeah.
Phage. I've been
I'm,
saying phage for like forever.
I'm sure he's experienced it 100 times. But now it's Feige.
I feel like a jerk.
Yeah, don't worry. Did you call him
I've never,
Kevin? Did you call him Kevin Feige to his face?
not to his face, but
All
I
right, it's
still like,
okay. It's all right.
still feel like wow.
That's,
Because
well,
I've had people Mike Crafton before, and I remember how that felt.
oh yeah. Did you have some,
But that's
like
not a
cringe?
that's not a mispronunciation of your name. That is just straight up getting your name wrong.
Yeah,
Well,
they
yeah.
don't. That's no fucks given whatsoever at that point.
It wasn't. Is your name Matthew? It was. Hey, Mike.
Right. It's like Mike, Matt, Mark, whatever.
I'm pissed me off so much.
Jesus, it's kind of rude,
Mm.
to say the least. Well, I won't even get into the butchering of Giordano. I mean, it's not even. There's, like, it would be like relaying a tale of the apocalypse.
Well,
The ways in which people have butchered my name over my life is just like, wow. It's like art. It's like some kind of performance art piece or something.
You're like, my name is Greg. Don't even try. Don't like. You want to try? It's a good laugh for me. Go for it.
People are way better now. More people seem to know how to pronounce Giordano now than ever. But I still get, like, if somebody calls me on the phone from, like, a doctor's appointment or just whatever, something where it's like a formality, and the person's like, hello, Mr. And it's like, ... Gordiano. It's like, it's suddenly the record scratches,
This week's close enough.
Yeah, and you're just like, and all I do, as I've learned over the years ago, Giordano. And she goes, yes, Gordano.
What? So you tell them the correct way, they still...
Yeah. Yeah. Not everybody. Not everybody, but yeah.
Now, have you ever been told that you're pronouncing your own last name incorrectly?
No.
I've had that happen.
Oh, that's great. Well, what other way do you pronounce Lundberg?
The person pronounced it Lundberg.
Oh.
You mean like Luden cough drops? Berg?
Apparently.
Well, and they told you that was how it actually is pronounced?
Yes.
Well, they're fuck up. They're fucking weird then, man.
What was even better about this is it was a foreign exchange student and not one from Sweden. He was from China or Japan. I can't remember which. He's like, oh, you realize that you're pronouncing your last name wrong. I'm like, oh, do tell.
Jesus. Well, I think at that
point,
make
my day.
Don't you just like sort of smile and kind of pretend that they're like 10 years old or something? You just kind of look at them like, one day when you grow up, honey, when you're big, you're gonna be so embarrassed by this conversation, but it's okay, hon. It'll be fine.
It's like, and my favorite is like the spellings that I get.
Oh yeah.
Like go look at a fucking rice bag. It's on there.
Go look at the rice bag. Oh, there's a Lundberg rice. That's right. Oh.
There is, and it's spelled the exact same way. Or people think that my last name is the name from Office Space.
Oh, what the hell was that?
It is Lundberg, but it's spelt differently.
Oh,
like there's an H in it. Like,
oh, okay.
It's like Lundherg or something weird.
Right.
I'm like, no. My favorite was in college. The spelling. What they used to do was when you got a package, they write your name on it bigger and put it in like a holding spot for you to come and pick it up.
Sure.
And this was a package from my mother, so I know she spelled my name right.
Sure.
And I went and got it, and it was in big Sharpie on the side. It's Lundbergerg.
Whoa.
So I became Lundberg.
There's did they throw in like some ampersands and like
Lundberger?
Oh, yeah, Lundbergerg.
Lundberger.
I'm just like, it's written on the out. It's like it's written right in front of you. Like what you copied it from, you messed up. Like you could not copy something down correctly.
So we could probably make up a euphemism. You've been Lundbergered.
Yes. You got Lundbergered so hard.
by the mailroom.
So that just makes me feel even worse about losing a package handler job, because that person shouldn't have a package handler job.
Right.
Yes, that was what Matt's title was package handler. The most unfortunate of job titles.
Hey, I ran with it. It was fun, actually.
Where'd you work?
It was at the Mount Washington Hotel.
Is it like a big? Is it like a big hotel or?
It's fairly large. It's the last Grand Hotel in New England.
Oh wow, okay. So it's
The
got that
rest of
like
them
old
burnt
tone.
down.
Whoa.
So our fire codes were insane, like the stuff we had to do.
Right.
We're not losing this one.
Yeah, we were gonna try not to, but then, well, the security
Surprise.
department wasn't the best. So I ended up having to, my department, I ended up being the only person checking for fire code.
Oh,
And
Jesus.
I'd always bring it up to my boss too. I'd just be like, "This is still leaking. The floor still isn't fixed over here. The fire extinguisher is 4 years expired." And he'd be like, "Eh."
Whatever. Not my job.
And
Well,
they're
actually,
just like, "Well, this is exactly why there's only one Grand Hotel left."
I can narrow it down to this point.
Yeah. No one gives a damn. But no, the package handler position was pretty fun because of the title. We actually changed it to package specialist about 8 months in because
I
I
don't
think
know
they
if
got
that's
sick
any
of
better.
me. They got sick of me using it because people would come in and just be like, "Are you the handler?" And I'd just be like, "I handle all the packages. I handle every package,
even yours.
even mine."
I just got done handling your package myself. About to go
Yep.
clean my hands.
What was the best one? Oh yeah, this guy named Ruben came in, and I'm just like, "Ruben, you had the biggest package I've ever handled."
Of course.
It was some car part, and he's just like losing it. And I'm just like, "This box is huge. Here, take it. Get out of here."
Well, if you can't laugh about packages, what can you laugh about?
Well, it's like it became a pretty dull job without the jokes. Like I actually got pretty close with the crew because of like if it weren't for the crew, the job would just be absolute hell. Ugh. Yeah,
So,
that
oh no, go ahead.
to answer your question, I'm currently working on a spooky dude
I
and
like
just
this
working
thing
on
you're
my
doing.
comic.
Yeah, I like this character of yours.
Very asymmetrical. Very, very asymmetrical.
Spooky dude is spooky.
I think I made his head too big.
No, I don't know. It's all right.
Did you inflate his ego?
I did. He thinks he's the best.
I mean, it's definitely got a dry bone kind of wooden quality too, which is cool because a lot of people are always doing the drippy, torn flesh decay. There's just a lot of decay out there, and one thing that I find there isn't enough of is stuff that looks like it could be like, you know, like almost like driftwood to the touch. You know what I mean? Like I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of horror and a lot of spookiness in that texture that doesn't get explored enough, I think.
Well, that's like my. If I don't have any actual phobias, but whenever I think of like what's like really scary is when I was younger, I used to help my grandfather clean out like his garage, and whenever something was like incredibly dry, that's what always got me. Was like, what is this? Oh my God, what is this?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Like you're right about the decay. I just wanted to do something that was like, what if it was left alone for 1,000 years?
Yeah. That kind of ossified Lich King kind of shit, which is really its own really interesting texture and there's
Hmm.
something really cool about that. Bone on bone kind of thing. That's pretty cool. So what
Yeah,
is what oh, go ahead, please. Now, does stuff that looks like this get incorporated into your book? Are you doing this kind of thing in there, or is it an entirely different look to it?
I can show you. There is a part in this first issue with some bone creatures. I love this texture this much that I've done it a lot. Here's these dudes.
Gotcha. Yeah, so there you go.
Like I love this texture, so I'm trying to incorporate that.
The thing that's interesting too is like when you think about the physiology, right? It's like there's those big dry eye sockets, and I mean they may not be sockets, but like what if it's like, well, they look like eye sockets or they look like nostrils, but really what they are is they're cavities on the front of the head that allow it to take in, like let's say they're like acoustic, like they don't see with eyes, they see because all the sound bounces off the inside of those um,
Ooh, yep.
cap in really, complex ways, right? So it's almost like radar, or they're also inhaling sense, and there's like they're in the same places that eyes and nostrils and stuff are, but they might be like resonator cavities that like pull in all the sound or temperature or who knows what, like other kinds of sense organs are,
So in this
stuff like that.
in this part of the comic, they're actually in a virtual reality, sort of version of virtual reality, while it takes over their dream state of their mind.
Mhm.
So the creature doesn't have to be like something that would need to exist. But what you just said was like, wow, that would work perfectly for a creature that had holes and cavities in it.
I was just gonna say they didn't before, but they do now.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Especially with all over the body like that, it could turn them into super sensors that make them incredibly deadly hunters, because they're sensing, they're clicking off of everything around them. I'm sure it's like, imagine a creature that has such hypersensitivity because there's echo chambers all over their body where they're picking up all the sound from everywhere, and heat and other things that, are different.
Yeah, so they'd be picking up way more than just sound, it'd be vibrations too.
Exactly. Well, sound's made out of vibration, right? So yeah, it could be this thing that takes advantage of this incredible, easily disturbed material that they're made out of, right? Because it's so dry, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then the alternative could be that maybe moisture is deadly to them or something, or who knows what it is. But,
They were killed with a wet hand towel.
It's
right.
like, well, Jeff, it seems the humidity is above 0.1 today. We can't go outside.
Right, like a rainstorm could be like poisonously deadly to them, right? Because it could just turn them into sludge or something, or who knows what. But it just, stuff like that. It's kind of cool.
You just described how I design stuff too. It's like I always try to look for function in whatever design I'm doing.
I think it's really important. And sometimes you can get amazing ideas out of stuff that is purely, design cool, but then like if you think about it from some weird way, suddenly like it'll evoke some little bit of, it's like, okay, how do you scientifically justify this? I drew this cool thing. Now I got to figure out like what it actually does, and sometimes that can lead you into some cool places.
That's that's right on the head. That's got to scientifically justify it. The thing that I get is my like this here, my armor designs. Like this is another design for the comic book.
That's like an EVA suit.
Mm-hmm. But I sort of designed it to be it's a combat EVA suit.
Right.
In this, you don't see the weapons in that one, but sort of like a little bit inspired by like StarCraft.
Oh yeah, but not that gigantic, bulky look.
Yeah, not like as big, but just enough to like if you got hit with an asteroid, you'd survive. You'd be okay. You just wouldn't. You'd feel it in the morning. I feel like we got hit by an asteroid last night.
I really used to love to play that game. I didn't play. I tried playing the sequel game. The where they pumped up the graphics and really like completely exploded the game.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get into it. There was something about it that just like
My issue with that one was that they took the way people played it and designed it around that instead of just going with the way they designed the first one.
right, which was basically here's the game, this is the environment, this is the rules, now play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I ideally what I would have rather have seen was, you know, some continuance of what they did in the first game, but make a whole other game that's role play, like, kind of like the way Fallout did really well, which was like, all right, well, this is the way we start. We're doing this 3/4 view game. It's just, sandbox game. But now, like, we have these amazing toys with 3D. Okay, now we're going to make
Mm-hmm.
Fallout 3, and we're going to make New Vegas. So like maybe like another like why not just expand the world of StarCraft and say like, okay, here's some more overhead games for the people who like to do the civilization thing, and then like here's this crazy ass first person role play style game in the world of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like why not just expand the franchise into a bunch of games rather than try to fit everything into one, I think was maybe not. Plus, it crashed the fuck out of my machine, which was really weird because I had a really good machine back then when that came out, but it blew it to pieces. Like it just went like it fucking heaved a big pile
Yeah.
on the floor, and I was like,
See, there was
it was rough on and then I was like, I'm not putting my fucking graphics card through all this shit. Like, it's not worth it.
yeah.
But some people swear by it though. Some people love that fucking remake sequel thing, whatever.
I didn't play a lot of it myself.
Yeah. What
I
I was
only
really
played enough
hoping
to
was,
really get one.
yeah, I was
I
hoping
only
that
got a feel for it.
right. I was hoping that Ghost game was going to happen. That was the one I was looking forward to because that was
What
going to
is
be
it?
basically it was going to be where you play, one of the ghosts, which are the like low profile single assassin types that had like the cloaking, and they would shoot that gun, and then the nuclear strike would triangulate on it, or they could use it as
Mm-hmm.
an assassin rifle. Well, they were going to blow that type of soldier out into its own game, and you're like this lone ghost, and you're wandering the alien environment, and it was basically going to be like a first person, role play style type of thing.
I would have loved the hell out of that. I remember that. Then
Yeah,
it just got canceled, right?
it just got canceled. Yeah, it was just this. It was a blip, and then it didn't end up happening. And I think it probably was because the sales on the remake of StarCraft were pretty pretty shitty, so it just kind of like knocked it out. Blizzard
Mm-hmm.
was like, no,
Just gonna make more WoW expansions.
yeah. Well, the weird thing is, like in Korea, especially, people still play like original StarCraft all the time, and they have these massive, like competitions and stuff, and people make, like it's big money and stuff, and they're still playing that game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the original one.
Yeah, I bet you that. I bet you they hate the remake too.
I guess it didn't have the pull. Um, and there's a lot of multiplayer over there of it, and a lot of modding. Just a lot of homemade. Um, like new maps and stuff like that.
Yeah. Shit.
So Jesse,
Team markers.
are you doing Comic-Con?
Vermont?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, actually, Matt is too.
Oh,
Yep.
you are? Oh, that's
I
fucking
will-
awesome, man. I'll get a chance to meet you. That'll be great.
Yeah, I haven't met you in person, have I?
I don't think so.
Yeah, The only time you would have had a chance to is if you were at the expo this year and you said you were not.
Yeah, I was I was sick as a dog. I was really in bad way.
Yeah. So, yeah, that would have been really the only chance to have met him.
Well, I am still not. I'm on the fence about what I'm gonna do for, like, what the main thrust of my table is gonna be this time.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's gonna be trying to drive up commissions. So one thing I've been doing is just figuring out, okay, where can I sort of cut corners and streamline my process and make, like, okay, if I want to do a commission that looks like X, how can I do that? And be able, because what I want to be able to do is come to a price point that's like really cheap.
But yeah.
Yeah, I want to be able to come up with a price point that's like under $30 for a full figure, and 20 or under for a headshot maybe, or something like that, and just figure out how to do that
To where you're not getting gypped and the person doesn't feel like they're getting gypped. Yeah. Such a balancing act.
Well, the good thing is that it doesn't cost me anything to draw, right, other than the pen and paper stuff, which is negligible. So
right.
it's okay. Like, it is true that, like, I should be getting X amount of money for any kind of drawing, but I think at a show, I'm not really too uptight about it, because it's almost like selling by the pound. It's not even real. It's not real art jobs. It's just even a drawing as a sketch at a convention. So
yeah,
as long as my thing is just to figure out how to do it decently and what style I'm going to do it in. Like, because what I'm really good at doing is this kind of Sienkiewicz, scratchy stuff, and for the right kind of characters and stuff like that, it works well. But what I have to do is kind of come up with, like, okay, so how can I do this style and sell it on people so that when they come to my table in about 3 seconds, they're like, oh, yeah, would you do a Moon Knight for me, or would you do like an Iron Fist, or like, in other words, like, so the other thing I'm thinking about doing is building up a portfolio that can be easily looked through.
Yeah.
That's got the kind of characters that look good in that style.
I mean, that's kind of what I like. At my table, I have like essentially an example book that people can buy from.
Yeah.
And, if nothing else, they'll be like, oh, well, could you do me one in that style?
Right.
Like, I've got some cartoony ones. I've got some, I don't know, like comic book realism. Yeah, I guess that's what you would call it. I don't know. Like ones that look like they would be in a normal comic book. And then, kind of here, there, and everywhere.
What's the characters that you guys get requested most?
Deadpool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I get armored characters.
Really?
What's out that's hot right now?
Oh, well, because I didn't know if people actually will be discerning enough to say, like, well, he's not going to be really good at Superman. I better ask him for a...
You know what Jesse gets out of?
What's that?
It's the Undertale. Jesse, you've got a lot of...
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
You're lucky.
What the fuck is
that? It's a video, like a phone-based video game.
Oh, Jesus.
Yep. And if you want to hear teen girls squeal,
it's that.
Yep.
Do that.
It's one of those.
Like, if you want to be like me and just sell your soul just a little bit to make $1.
Well, for 2 days, who gives a shit,
Yeah. Do something Undertale.
I'll have to write this down because I don't even know what the hell that is. Yeah.
It's two characters. One's name is Sans. One's is Papyrus.
Those are the two most popular characters.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and they're skeletons. That's really all you.
What's shitty is it's a really good idea for a game, but it's gotten so popular. It's
Oh,
like
that's
a
okay.
character that it's like a JRPG, but you play it with a character that doesn't like fight with weapons or it's really interesting. Like you end up beating the characters by talking them down, basically.
What's a JRPG?
Oh, Japan
Oh, I see.
Japanese RPG. Sorry.
Gotcha. No, no, no. That's okay. I just
I've never I've never seen it played. I've never played it.
um,
Get it request all the freaking time.
interesting.
And what's awesome is the character designs themselves. They're pretty well done character design wise, but they're super simple. Like you can bang one out in no time. And they'll be like, I would like to pay for your most expensive level for this character. That is
yep,
super simple.
yep.
So how much do you guys charge for, like something like this, like a body shot type of thing?
I don't go by headshot body shot. I'm honestly thinking about switching things up a little bit because some of the stuff that comes in, it's like that's a lot of freaking work, and I am undercharging for what I am. I do it like a pick your price point, and it's more of a detail level.
Oh, interesting. It's a little harder to quantify.
Well, I do it like do you want it to be just if you're looking for just like an outline, almost like a comic, like a coloring book type deal, it's one price. Do you want some shading thrown in there? It's another price.
Okay.
Do you want it to be colored? That's another price.
And what are
You
those prices?
um for like just a very quick outline, it's like
Mm,
$10. But those take me like no time at all.
gotcha.
So I can bang those out in, minutes. Uh, you know, 10 minutes. So it's like it's essentially like $60 an hour for what I.
The Sands one you did at the library only took you like I was like it makes sense that it would take that long, like not long at all. But it
Yeah.
was still impressive to be like, wow, he's already done this one of his most expensive commissions.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they're ones that they don't have. Like, I do like limited background, which would be like just kind of like a color wash behind it.
Gotcha.
That's one price. And then, if you wanted like, a burning chimichanga truck, it's another price.
Yeah, like some kind of full blown narrative. It's like really almost like you're doing a cover on a comic.
Yeah, kind of. I mean,
'Cause sometimes,
I still try to keep it fairly simple
right?
because I'm trying to put. I don't like to bring commissions home.
Well, no.
Yeah, so it happened this last week because the con that we were at was literally 3 hours long.
Oh, Jesus.
It was at a library down in Townsend, Mass.
How can you even do a show that's 3 hours? By the time you're setting up, you're leaving.
Well, we got to set up early, but
No, you know what I mean, though. Like
yeah,
in
no.
your brain, like you're there, and oh, it's time to go.
Well, it worked.
Interesting.
I made more money in 3 hours than I have done in a couple 2 day long cons.
That's really cool.
Yeah, like
I'm very
yeah.
surprised.
And the
That's
table
amazing.
originally it was they wanted $10 for the table. We're like, okay. we got there, and the girl's like,
That's
the lady's
nothing.
like, yeah, that's nothing. And then the lady was like, okay, well, here's the thing. This is the first time we've tried charging for tables. We're like, okay. Well, because they had done it 1 year before, and they just gave them away. And she's like, and, she wasn't sure how things were going, blah, blah, blah. And she decided you can either have your $10 back or you can donate it to the library. So we just donated it to the library because we had already accounted for the $10, and it's $10. Like, if any of
It's
those
nothing.
creators
It's
went and
literally
said,
nothing.
"Yeah, I'd like my $10 back," it should have been like, really,
You're a
people.
dick. You're a dick.
It's a nonprofit. It's a nonprofit
Jesus.
thing
They're
that's
just-
trying to get people to read.
Yeah, they just
Like-
they actually just paid you to come and make money.
Yeah,
If you factor in the fact that they got everything set up and everything else, it's basically like, hi, we just basically paid you to make money and hang out with us.
yeah,
And now you're gonna ask for your money back, you dick.
yeah.
No way. Like, yeah, no, that's awesome, man. That's
The
awesome.
thing is, I mean, I guess it was nice that they came around and decided, hey, we're giving this as an option. Like, we feel bad. We could have done something differently, blah, blah, blah. I don't even remember their exact words. I mean, but to be honest, had they not done that, nobody would have been the wiser, and no one would have cared.
No, because everybody's used to $50, $100, $200, whatever.
Yeah.
So
It's like, and I'm really digging the library shows. Like,
it's a great business model, and if the municipality is up for it, they can just not charge the people running the shows or do it themselves or whatever. But and that's one of the things that's the little that I've investigated into it, it's it's a great business model, and it can work for everybody.
yeah,
Plus, it brings programming into these libraries, and they're all every year they got to justify their funding to their city hall and stuff, and this is always a great way because even the most like shrunken-headed, culturally illiterate, city employee knows what comics are now, and like oh, graphic novel, oh, that's amazing, oh wow, you brought the graphic novels to our library, that's great, you guys are doing such a great job, and they're like, oh yeah, no, totally. So it works it's good for everyone.
yeah,
it's good for the kids.
Yeah.
Good for the kids.
What's awesome is, by not charging people $40 to get in the door, they have $40 that they were planning on spending to buy art. And
yeah, now their ability, they have so much more ability to spend money. So yeah, it's good. But that'll
pretty
be
much
good to see you guys up here.
Yeah. I mean, I will scour for any library show that I can be a part of almost.
Are you going to the Barnstead one?
No, as I say that.
I was gonna say I'm not doing that one either.
I think that one is the same day as the Horror Con.
Oh yeah, and that's why.
Yeah. That Jay's.
That's why you're leaving me.
Well, I've got a, I don't know. Like I've mentioned, because basically I'm trading a print for a table at that show.
Oh yeah.
And I have mentioned to Jay more than once, and I know he just bought a house and stuff. But I've mentioned to him more than once that I I need said reference photos for the print that he wants me to do, and I have yet to receive them. So maybe I won't have a table because, although,
What'll happen is he'll be a nice guy to you. I mean, but what is it that you're doing? What's this character?
hold on. What was that?
What character are you doing for him?
He wants apparently okay. From what I last talked to him,
I'm not getting any audio.
Yeah.
Jesse lost connection.
We're sorry, we've lost our audio picked mission, but we'll be back in just a moment. Please stand by.
In coloring, did I lose my dryness?
sorry.
No, that's okay. No, I don't think so, man. I don't think you lost anything. So what oh, now you're right side up. That's excellent.
Cool.
No,
orientated.
no. Margaret was calling me because she's stopping to get something to eat.
Oh, right.
I haven't had dinner.
Oh no.
She's actually stopped to get you something this time?
Yes.
It's nice.
Normally she's just like, screw you, Jesse.
That's not true. The only time that you heard her say that was really the only time that she didn't stop, and that was because she was exhausted and wanted to. And I didn't blame her. Now she's doing the Winnipesaukee Playhouse. She does concessions there.
Oh, there you go.
Make a few extra dollars.
Sure. Whatever it takes.
Well, she works a summer program. Her normal job is she's a one-on-one support staff for children with autism.
Yeah, she was telling me a message before. Yeah.
Yeah. So her summer job it's doing that in like a summer camp type thing. It's still through the school. But the problem is it's only Monday through Thursday from like 8 o'clock till like 2:30.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it pays pretty well per hour because it's that at that point it's hourly. It's not what her normal contract is.
Yeah.
Because during the school year she's contracted, salaried, but during the summer months it's a little tighter because all of a sudden, although she's making buku bucks per hour, or what I would consider buku bucks per hour, she is not working many set hours.
Right. So it starts to
It goes from being a really well-paying job to being so that would be what it would be like if I worked at a grocery store, just because of the hours cut.
Yeah, and so then you gotta say, okay, well, is this worth it?
I mean, it's still worth it, and she's able to pick up hours at like the Playhouse and stuff. And although it's like, I think it might be a little bit more than minimum wage, she does get tips from time to time. Even more so when people don't steal them for damn.
Oh shit! Yeah, I remember that story.
Yeah, some jack off fucking stole money from her.
Jesus.
Out of her tip jar.
Nice.
For anyone that watches this, my comic is family friendly. My mouth, not always. Especially when you take from my family.
Well, also, like, we're talking about stealing from, people or whose wages come from tips. I mean, if you're stealing from that person, you're fucking low. That's pretty low.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a special place in hell for you. But yeah. So it's been a mixture of draw monkey draw to help with bills and would you like Pinot Grigio with your with your theater ticket?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and supposedly Matt will know this. Supposedly this coming week I should have my review at work.
Oh,
Yeah.
finally.
Yeah, since I've had the review sheet in my mailbox for the past like 2.5 months.
And then weren't they telling you at the beginning of the year?
Huh? Oh, well,
It's coming.
I was supposed to have had a review in November, and that never actually happened. And my last review was like June of last year, and they're supposed to be 6 months. And yeah.
Well,
Hey,
they're
I'm just praying that I get a raise. We'll see.
And what are you doing right now?
I work for a high-end engraving company.
Oh, okay.
The only problem is sales are down this year.
So, are you talking like what kind of stuff are you guys doing?
Some stuff that has non-disclosure agreements type of thing. Like some super high-end stuff. We do. In the past, we've done stuff for professional sports teams.
Right.
We've done stuff for the Cheeto. For some of his properties. Yeah.
The Cheeto.
Yeah. We've done stuff for like I've actually laid out and engraved stuff that's been on TV shows and movies.
Cool. So this is a fairly high-end shop. This isn't like your neighborhood basketball team.
Well, we do that too.
You do the small stuff too. Yeah.
It
all adds up.
Right. And the thing is I think they're realizing that they need to identify themselves a little bit better. It's like we can't be bogged down. Timmy's Trophy pays the bills.
Gotcha.
When they need it. But they want to be this super high-end, like
national client kind of place.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's sometimes it feels like they suffer from a little bit of an identity crisis. Like it's hard to say, yeah, well, we've done stuff for XX and this place, and there's some places like we are literally like other companies have hired us, so we can't say that. Yeah, that's what we did. We did those. Like they make us sign a non-disclosure because they're then taking what we did and reselling it to their client. And the thing is some of the ones that we have done that for are some really cool clients that would be awesome to brag about. But we can't.
That's just really sucks.
And that's one thing that I guess we're going to start trying to move away from. We're going to start trying to move away from the third party selling and go after those people more hardcore ourselves. which just makes that makes sense. Like we're at a point where we should really be going after the big sports teams and not have to go through a reseller or something like that, like a marketing firm or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or the thing is like some of these places, you can tell that they're trying to go and give work to the local mom and pop shop. Like there's a couple that it's like you can tell what they're doing. They think they're being nice by helping the local economy, which they are because we sell at a discount for resellers. So they'll take our product and mark it up 20% and make profit off of it. But it's like, okay, you're not actually getting something from that shop. They're then coming and shopping us. It's like it's not really helping. It's helping the money stay in that area, I guess, per se. But
yeah, that's also once you start changing out the business model, then there's an entirely different. I mean, it's going to change how the stability of things, and suddenly you're marketing to an entirely different crowd, and there's, there's. It's like whenever the business model changes, then potentially you've got, could be like, well, if it throws off profits for a year, but we know that at the 2-year mark, we're going to be going ballistic. Well, do you have the money can you get a loan for the, the interim, like all that kind of shit. Like,
well, luckily the company I work for, they are they're fairly well known. Like we are having big nationally known things coming to us directly. It's just it sucks when you get other big nationally known ones, but they're coming through, say, a marketing firm, or they're
and they're getting all the glory
right
in the end.
because
I mean,
we
because they're
can't put our
delivering.
label on it. We can't say, hey, this company did it, not your company.
Mm-hmm.
And because at the end of the day, they want to be able to have that say team, sports team come back and purchase from them so that they can make the markup.
Right.
Because we've had sports teams, we've had production teams and stuff like that deal with us directly. And it's funny, even like some of the teams that we like, say we did do something for a professional sports team. We've even had them, when they've dealt directly with us, basically say that they want it like blind shipped. They don't want anything of ours on it to say it was us, which is kind of weird. But it's like who did this. Like you're the end user.
Yeah, there's something about branding going on there or something like that.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I got to bed.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
A Viking wouldn't go to bed.
This Viking going to bed.
It didn't work this time.
Huh?
I said it didn't work this time. Me calling you a Viking didn't work this time.
It might work with ice cream, but when it comes to sleep, I take that shit seriously.
Hey, it was really cool to hang out with you.
Yeah, you as well. Hopefully we can do it again sometime.
Absolutely, anytime, man.
I'll see you. If I don't speak to you again, I'll see you at the September convention.
Yeah, no problem. Absolutely.
Green, is that Green Mountain or is it Vermont? It's Vermont Comic Con.
Vermont Comic Con, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's same people. Same people, same place.
The name's just a little bit different.
Yeah, and the attitude of the con is different too.
It's a full-on media kind of con rather than just comics.
Yeah.
But it's basically, I think, gonna have it'll be comics friendly in that you know
Right. I'm not saying it's just the expo is more just there's no media guests.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the expectations are very different, which is why it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah. I'm wondering
down
how.
there. I mean, I should say.
Yeah, I'm wondering how it will go with it being in Barrie instead of Burlington.
Yeah, not sure.
I mean, we've had decent, like, all right crowds for the Comic Expo, but that's a different show. Like, they're not they're not expecting to bring in as many people.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah, I'm not sure.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
The only thing that, like, when it was up in Burlington that had kind of going against it was the fact that it was usually the same weekend as UVM move-in weekend.
Yeah, and that's all about
And
the Sheridan who owned that location, and they don't own it anymore. However, they
oh,
skedaddled and were bought out by another investment group or hotel chain or something. So the funny thing is, who knows if those people would be more amenable and appreciate the kind of business that that sort of show could bring to that location. The part of the problem for forever was that basically they seem to be rather antagonistic.
yeah, I never got into the behind the scenes of what actually dealing with like the Sheridan or whatever was like.
They were giving him a real hard time. They were really just screwing around with him, and it sucked. It's too bad.
Yeah.
They just didn't value it.
Or then you have like the people that, oh, you made $1 off of this? Well, we're gonna jack up all the prices.
All that kind of stuff plus more.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, like instead of just saying, "Hey, look, could be a long-term relationship and could lead somewhere. Let's work with these people and build a thing with them." Nah, just
It was
wants
the
a,
quick it was
it's
the
all the
quick buck mentality.
yeah, it's all the low baller shit. Plus, I think their attitude is like, "Hey, for like 5 times the amount of money that you bring into us, um, uh, we can have some dentists in here." And the whole place is filled up to the rafters with hotel rooms and everything else, and you guys are small potatoes, but we'll take your money.
Yeah.
That's the best part. It's like you guys are small potatoes and blah blah blah, but um but and we look down on you, and you guys aren't that great, and you're not critical to our bottom line every year, but we'll take your fucking money.
Oh,
How's that for an attitude?
can't stand that.
But
Alrighty. Have a great night, guys.
See you guys.
I,
See ya.
I mean that's kind of
what's
like what do you know Emily Druin? Yeah.
yeah, she's a member of the group actually. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Um,
she's another New Hampshire, but you know, but we still
Connected.
love you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean like that's what she was having with her Kids Con was they did it the first year at the Manchester or at the Manchester Radisson. And
I heard like all these people initially really fucked with her.
yeah.
I heard
Well,
she was really screwed around with by a lot of these locations.
but they like after the first year they kind of saw the crowds that it brought in and then like more than doubled what the space was.
Yeah.
To rent. And it's like that's just being a douche. I mean, come on.
Now, did they increase their prices for every single event that came through the door? No. No, they did not. They only did it to her. So that's and that's why that shit is. It's just bullshit. It's total bullshit.
Yeah.
And that's yet another reason why. Well, I mean, it's a reason for like why contracts have to happen, and actually Jay was really smart about that, and that's why he was able to hold them off from some of that bullshit for a while. Because he's really savvy about that stuff. But it's also a good reason, again, to build these relationships with libraries and other institutions that are friendly and are like, hey, we'd love to have you here. Like it's such a, it's a change in size, and it's definitely not the same thing where, it's not cosplayer event. It's not where you can walk upstairs on the elevator and go to your hotel room. It's a change. It's a change in environment, and it's a change in culture. But Jesus, like look at the difference in the costs, and the people are friendlier that are actually running the venue. They're grateful.
I mean, like the library people were super appreciative, and they're like, "Oh, are you coming back next year?" I'm like, "If you freaking have us, yeah."
So
it's like,
yeah, I mean, like that's who wouldn't want that?
Yeah, like I said, we made in 3 hours we made more than what some 2-day cons that we do.
Yeah,
like that's nuts.
Especially when you factor in things like food and gas and all these other extras.
I mean, it's like an hour and a half from our house, which isn't bad, and it's 3 hours. You didn't have to really worry about the food aspect. I mean, we ate on the way home, but we could have waited. We weren't starving. We could have had something before we went. We could have had something, once we got home. That wasn't an issue.
Yeah, I just mean, like unlike a hotel type standard practice kind of show where those are, that's a lot of extra pieces to the puzzle. Like
it's like the people that do like Boston. That's another one where it's the whole going out on your own, like that also makes me afraid of things. It's like, okay, I have trouble making some, and it's weird. Some cons I do really well at. Some it's like pulling teeth. So am I willing to go and risk? I think the table this year for fucking A. Sorry, my paint pen just did something I did not want it to do.
Did you get a big blob?
Yes.
It sucks.
Yeah. Table at Boston is like 475, 450, something just unattainable in my mind.
Doesn't surprise me because I remember 2 years ago when Matt and Therese Forsyth were going to be going. They did there was one anime show that they did every year, and then they did Boston Comic Con, I think, every year. And like 2 years ago, it cracked. I think it was like 375 for a table, and they were like, probably the last year we're going to be going. So
like that's just
doesn't surprise me. And when you say 400,
just
totally
how do you
well
say that you're like Johnny C.
Yeah,
like he doesn't have the ability to do sketches.
No, he's just selling books.
He's just selling books and coffee.
And also he's getting paid to do programming at those shows that he has that set up.
Some are, yes.
Some are. Yeah. Some are paid gigs.
Some are paid, some are like less than that. But like he did like San Diego.
Yeah. Well, there's probably other money, revenue source, or
somewhere.
Something's going on. Yeah, I mean,
But I'm thinking of, I'm not necessarily him per se, but say you're a writer, like, and all you have is your $5 comic book
oh yeah, no, it
to
could
go
be.
on.
It's a bear.
How do you make, like, here I am, I can do sketches quickly.
Yeah.
Um,
So as long as people think it's good enough, then theoretically you can keep the money rolling as long as you figure out how many commissions you have to go through a day, and you do the math, and you just work really hard.
and even then, I'm like, I don't think I could do it. Like,
No,
I,
I totally, yeah, absolutely.
I don't think I could balance just the sheer cost of it.
No, it's a lot.
I
It's a
I
lot.
and then you get the people like we're friends with like Dennis Burke or Jason Casey. Like, you have, and that's all they do is they do cons and they do commission work and such like that.
I don't
And
know those people, but I'm assuming they're the type of people that just like grind at shows all the time.
yeah, Dennis is a caricature artist. And Jason is like an illustrator.
Gotcha. So
I
he's
don't want to
so
say
they,
just an illustrator, but he's an illustrator.
right. So he's got probably prints and
Yeah, he mostly
stuff.
deals with prints. But he's and he does larger, more complicated, 4 to 6 hour commission work.
And how much does he charge?
It
Is it
depends.
like into the $100 range or something?
Yeah, it's a couple $100.
It would make
Like,
sense because if you're spending that much time, then you can only do so many a day. So he would probably, I would imagine, he'd have to charge in that area to
yeah,
math work.
but then you've also, at that point, all of your stuff is take home commission, and it's
Yeah,
like
thank
finding
God.
that balance of, well, now I have to take home this commission, and like that's what Dennis does too. He does some that are at the show, and then he'll do a lot of take home stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you then balance that with your, well, I need new content for my print wall, and
Mm.
you know,
Well, what it is they're all young guys, relatively young guys. They're single probably, and
Dennis is not.
he's not.
Jason
Okay.
is.
Yeah. And the other thing is, not every like it's physical work, and it's not everybody's cup of tea to work. Like, are they up all night? Maybe, right? Like like not everybody can do that. I couldn't do
And
that even in my 20s when I was at my theoretical peak, right? No way.
and the other thing I have to feel bad for, like Jason, is he'll deal with like crippling depression, so he
It's
won't
just
be able
yeah,
to, like I can't get out of bed, let alone pick up a
yeah,
pen today.
yeah. I have PTSD. I have bipolar, and so half the time I have depression stuff, and I have very severe fibromyalgia. So
Yeah,
I have a lot of chronic pain and fatigue.
yeah, exactly. It's
So like I can't work all the time on stuff. Sometimes there's very long breaks. And I've actually decided to start the 100-day comic challenge.
mm-hmm.
Um just so really I'm just using it as a way to make some stink about holiday number 2 and to get a work ethic going. But one of the things is I'm going to have some, sort of like confessional style, like caveats. It's like, yes, I'm doing it, but I can't work every day, so it's not going to be 100 consecutive days. But I will complete 100 days of working on the book.
Right.
And the other thing is, I'm going to be talking about some of the time about stuff like, well, as a person who has disabilities and also has chronic health problems, you know, this is how I, cope with that, and this is how I even work with that. Like, because sometimes you can't work. Like, what's that like? Like, how do you
Yeah.
consider? It's more like sort of like I want to talk about things like how do you consider yourself to be a successful artist when you can't work as much as other artists do, and then the
Like
other one is
it physically pains you, and the idea of even picking up a pen is
it's just like a lot of it's just like
physically and emotionally draining.
yeah, and
And
then
it's
like
and
yeah,
and like the fact that it's something that you love and want to do but physically can't.
exactly.
I
And
mean, it's got
I think there's some I think that's something that hasn't I mean, I know there are people who are disabled who are on YouTube and they talk about their art or whatever, but I think there's some room for some insights and I think it could make my 100-day challenge more valuable.
right.
Like cuz everybody needs and that this is not to be cavalier or like, you know, um like a pirate, but it's and you also have to have a hook. I mean, you got to have something to stand out, and that's one thing I have. I mean, I definitely I am those things. So it's like why not use it to my advantage instead of like use it as like, well, I couldn't get any work done this week because blah blah blah. It's like, no, okay, so like I couldn't get anything done this week because of this, and now I want to talk about it because I bet there's some of you out there that are
Are in the
going through
same boat.
yeah, or maybe you have a loved one or a friend who has similar issues and et cetera, et cetera. So like I think there's some I could use it maybe to more of an advantage. Um,
Right.
so that's what I'm hoping anyway to do with it.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
that'd be cool.
yeah, because the thing is, it's like the other thing is now that since it's still the summer,
That one's good.
there's it's not totally overloaded on YouTube right now with 100-day. Like there's only a few. It seems bizarre to say this, but literally there's like maybe 15 people doing 100-day challenge right now.
Yeah.
So this is
Hi,
like a good.
Greg.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
This
How are
is.
you?
I'm going fine.
That's good.
So it's kind of a good time to get in if you were thinking about doing it, even if it was just like for totally, like manipulative reasons, because right now there's only like 3 people doing a 100-day challenge that actually have decent hits, and that's Jeff Lafferty and what's her name, Zabethy, and one other woman, and then the rest of them are kind of like a low hit, but like they're steady. So I think like if somebody was going to do it, this is a good time to do it because once it gets to be September, October, like everybody's going to be slamming on Inktober and everything else, and it's going to be a bigger. There's just going to be too many people doing,
Everyone's going to be moving indoors.
yeah, and it's a lot of video happening, and so I think it's possible because there's people are hungry to watch the 100-day stuff, and I think the reason why is because deep down in their heart they would like to be doing it, so they watch it.
Well,
You know,
it was funny. Margaret's cousin, aunt, and cousin, and some of her friends came over, and like while we were talking to him, I was working on a piece, and her cousin's like, "Oh, like this is what I like to watch on YouTube. Like I watch people
see,
draw."
isn't that great?
Yeah, on that and Instagram and stuff.
Yeah. So, there's plenty of room for.
And these are like 16, 15, 16-year-old girls
Sure. Yeah.
that, they're going to be the trendsetters for the next, next 18 to 24-year-old market. So at least they're interested. Like, obviously, some of the stuff that they were talking about was just garbage.
Mhm. Well, also there's just different styles of whoa,
Video
smacked my
content.
camera. Um, like Bailey J and stuff like that. That sort of I don't want to say genre, but that sort of that type of YouTube art video is fairly well played out, I think. But
Uh,
it's very
I'm not.
popular.
I'm not talking about art. I'm talking just about stupid teen friendly content that.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily art. The other stuff that they were talking about was not necessarily art related. It was more cliche teen girl stuff. Like,
Sure.
I guess to put it that way. And then, as Margaret put it, there, some of the stuff she was listening to, she's just like, "Thank God I'm not a teenager anymore." Or, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
she's like, "I'm afraid of what it will be like when Aaron's that age." Like,
Right.
yeah,
Well, fortunately, there'll be an entirely new set of crazy, stupid, you know, bullshit to have to like contend with. There'll be something else, like by the time
yeah,
she's that age. So fortunately, it'll be a new frontier of dumb.
yeah. Well, hopefully we'll teach her right.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
Mm.
you know, I the way I was raised, it's like, of course, I was into some of the the things of the times, but I always felt like I was slightly off. Like, you know, some of the bands I liked in when I was in grade school were more classic rock, and I was a little bit made fun of that because I wasn't listening to what the hit song was now.
Mhm.
But then once these kids, once my classmates hit like high school, it was like all of a sudden, oh man, have you ever listened to this band? I'm like, yeah, you used to make fun of me for it, so thanks. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go see them in concert this summer. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. That would have been a dream of mine, but
Yeah.
but you're able to live it after you made fun of me for like 3 years about liking said band.
And then you're like vindicated, sorta.
Sorta. It's like vindicated, but now you're getting to live the life that I wanted to be able to see said band. Like,
Thanks for appropriating the thing that only I knew was cool back then.
yeah. Well, it's like, we jokingly say that we're like riding the hipster craze because we actually collect and listen to vinyl. And
Sure.
now everybody and their cousin is putting out a vinyl record. And it's like, oh, you're just part of the hipster craze. And it's like, no, we were part of it before it was cool to be that way. Like, I hate saying we were into it before it was cool, but like Margaret and I, our parents had record players and we grew up listening to records. So we wanted to continue it. And it's not our fault that the modern craze all of a sudden is what's old is new again. And
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can tell you
we're
is like, God help you.
benefiting.
God help you when you get to be my age. Yeah. The only
You're like,
advantage, the only advantage I have is that I was very uncool when I was a kid, and I didn't even I didn't pay attention to music. I was like, you know, I just was kind of like not, I just didn't understand like a lot of that stuff. I just wanted to read comics and play role playing games and stuff, and I was um, sort of almost like morbidly uninterested in a lot of other pop culture, right? And
yeah,
then it changed when I became more outgoing, and I had a lot of it's just things got a lot better. But I didn't come into all that stuff until like Jesus, like my 20s, 30s, that kind of thing.
yeah,
So in a sense, I was a hipster doofus, but I was the right age for the material. But I came at it like way later. Like
yeah,
I'd be like saying to a friend of mine, like, "Oh yeah, I started listening to this, what I don't know, like Motorhead, right? Okay, so like original Motorhead, like right when Lemmy had left. The hell was it? The prog rock band, from the 70s, 60s, and like Oh, really? You mean the band I was telling you 10 years ago that you should have listened to, you asshole? Like, and being like, oh, but you just discovered it now. I'm like, oh, I'm the dick, right? Okay, like I get that now. like I'm a total jerk off because you remember when you used to tell me, well, I don't really care about that stuff. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh man, this is really great. Like,
You're like, I know. I was
I
trying to get you to enjoy it earlier.
earlier you shithead. Yeah. Um. So, but yeah. Anyway, I don't know. It's like, but this is. I mean, I hate to say it, but this is exactly what happens intergenerationally. I mean, this is what everybody goes through. Like everybody.
Yeah.
So it's nothing new. Our parents went through it. Our grandparents went through it. It's just the cycle of it.
Yeah.
There's really nothing you can do. It just
No.
sucks. It just sucks when yours is the one that's co-opted. That's all.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. Now I know what my dad was saying. Like, or whatever. Yeah. Wow, they were right.
I think I'm losing you a little bit.
Oh, can you hear me still?
All of a sudden, the video is getting real laggy.
That could be either of our end because on mine, everything's
Well,
looking fine.
seeing how on my end, I've been really pissy at our internet provider. I'll say it's on my end.
Well, like it's interesting because like I can see your video is very choppy. Oh, you just went black. There you are. You're back now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think I kind of need to call it a night anyways. I got work in the morning.
Oh, yeah, no problem, man. I got to go to bed too. But hey, thanks a lot for hanging out.
Oh, yeah. No, it was fun. We should, like Matt said, we should try to do it again.
Oh, yeah, anytime. I'm totally up for it.
So, cool.
Catch you later.
So I will talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah, we'll see you. All right, so that was my hangout with Jesse Lundberg and Matthew Crafton. Really great local New England artists, and just just really good guys too. Besides that, so if you look down in the show notes, so by the time you probably see this, because I bet you're not going to see this live. I know one thing's for sure: there's almost nobody watching it tonight, but you may see it later. You can check out. Sorry, just being one of those people. You can check out Jesse Lundberg's work on, of course, his webpage. And also on his Facebook account. So let me get that. Make sure I got that right. I am talking while I copy and paste into the show notes, which is probably a really terrible thing to do. But here we go. So yeah, you can see what Lundberg does at jdlundberggraphicarts.webs.com, and he's on Facebook.com as Jesse Lundberg, and Matt Ross Crafton is Matt RC on Facebook, and also mattrosscrafton.wixsite.com/spaceviking. And but those notes will be down in the bottom there. You can find me. What's the best way to find me now? It's a little different than it used to be. I think probably. Let's see here. Yeah, well, obviously here on YouTube, I don't know what links I've got up here, but you can find me at about.me/Gregory Giordano. It's an easy way, about.me/Gregory Giordano. So anyway, this is a live draw with Jesse Lundberg and Matt Ross Crafton. And actually, I'm kind of happy because not only did they get some work done, but I got some test sketches done. I got a Ninja Turtle and um, got a kind of a cool, at least starter sketch on Danny Rand Iron Fist in a kind of army fatigue, sort of 1970s sort of look. And I got a John Constantine done. So, and I take commissions all the time, color or black and white, and you can reach me at any of those at that about.me and send me an email or something like that. Yeah, so it's been a productive night. I'm pretty happy about the results, and I hope I'm hoping that you will keep watching my vids. By the way, I just want to let people know that I am starting the 100 days of making comics challenge, and probably going to be. I've been making video material, but I think probably going to post a first edited video tomorrow, meaning Friday, Friday the 26th. Yeah, so that's also really exciting. Yeah, so thanks a lot for watching. And if there's any other artists that know me, they want to get in on one of these live draws, you're welcome to do so. If you need information, if you want any information about how I do what I do, or advice on making your art, I definitely give people some time for that. And yeah, so thanks a lot, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye. Good night.